jump right into my part. My first one was Fantastic Four Annual number 21. And so we start this one off with the Fantastic Four coming back to their home after spending some time looking into the race of the Beyonders, which is like an alien life form that the Beyonder from Secret Wars. He's one of them. At the time we just didn't realize that he was one of many during that story.
Okay.
So this team of Fantastic Four is a little different than the usual team. This one is the Thing, She-Thing, Johnny Storm, and this girl Crystal from the Inhumans.
Okay.
Which is a former love interest of Johnny Storm's.
And now they're on the same team?
Yes. And Johnny's married to the Thing's former interest at this point, Alicia.
Dang.
Yeah. That was messed
How
up.
did that happen?
I don't know.
What the heck? The
But-
blind person, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so he's married to her, but he also had a little thing with Crystal at one point.
But Crystal has a thing with Pietro.
That's I'm gonna get into it in a second, but she's married to Pietro, but he dipped out on her for a while. So it's a
And then she thing and the thing are a thing, or
yeah.
oh
Yeah.
How did that even? It's fine.
She looks like a chicken nugget.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
That was like a burnt chicken nugget. Yeah, so that's the team that we're dealing with here. After getting back, they all want to get some rest. But the Thing heads up to the receptionist that they have. She's a robot. I can't remember what her name is. But he's trying to let her know of what their plans that they have coming up. And they're going to be heading into the negative zone so they can learn some more about the Beyonders over there. Now with the whole team in their own separate quarters, Ben's thinking about how he's so in love with She-Thing. She-Thing's thinking about how she's so in love with Ben Grimm, the Thing. Johnny is pretty conflicted now because he's married to Alicia, like I said.
Yeah.
And he also really loves Crystal. And Crystal is in her room thinking about how shitty of an ex-husband Pietro has been because he just dipped out on her and their kid.
Oh, that is his kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And how if the Inhumans weren't so stubborn and strict with their marriage,
Yeah.
she would have left him a long time ago. And they're also in her mind, they're divorced, they're done with each other. But in the Inhuman world, in Adelan, they don't really believe in that.
Okay.
That people can get divorced. So,
But they believe in superpowers. But it's fine.
yeah. So I can have powers, but I can't leave this guy?
Yeah.
Sure. So all of that thinking that everybody's doing is interrupted. All of Crystal's thinking is interrupted when her daughter Luna runs in to give her some love. That loving is then interrupted when the alarm goes off in the Fantastic Four building.
Okay.
And they all run out to the lab to figure out what's going on. And before they open up the doors, there's a hologram of Medusa and Black Bolt, who are the Inhuman leaders. There's a hologram of them right outside of the lab. And Medusa tells Crystal, your husband is back home. He's finally shown up. But he's recently lost all of his powers, and he wants you to come back home. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. She refuses to go back. Black Bolt, not being the person who takes no kindly, he tells Medusa to inform the Fantastic Four that if she's not going to come back, we'll be there soon. And then seconds later, they pop up right there in the hallway. Lockjaw teleported them right in, and Lockjaw is there. Basically a big watching TikToks while I go through my shit. Lockjaw is basically just this big ass bulldog that can teleport them anywhere they need to go.
Was Lockjaw was he a person before he mutated, or is he always a dog? That just
I don't know. I gotta look into that.
that would suck.
Yeah.
Because now they just treat him like a regular dog.
Right.
Yeah.
If he was a person, and now
You guys know I had a career before this, right? Like,
he's the best in class.
Like,
yeah.
put some respect on it, please. Can I get a little better food?
It's like that one. What was that one show on Nickelodeon? 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowell.
Yeah.
When they turned him into a dog, and now
And then they cancel the show before he gets 100 deeds. So, like, do we know if he finished? Did he die a dog? What the hell happened to Eddie?
He became Lockjaw. So.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's the lore.
So, yeah. Now, Black Bolt, Medusa, this guy Karnak, and Lockjaw show up, and they say, Crystal, we're going home. Crystal is still refusing at this point, and because she's refusing, and she's technically a part of the Fantastic Four, the Thing's like, no, we're not just gonna. If she says she's not going, she's not going. If you guys have a problem with that, we can fight. So a fight starts between the two teams. Meanwhile, while they're fighting on the moon, the High Evolutionary and his group called, or his, I guess, minions called the Gatherers, just teleported onto the surface of the moon, and he's there to procure a sample of the famous Inhuman Terrigen Mist. And the Terrigen Mist is basically just the mist that helps them.
it like activates the gene.
Yeah,
in
it
there.
activates their inhuman powers.
Okay.
And once they hit a certain age.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
And the High Evolutionary wants to get a sample of it
Of course he does.
to examine it.
I don't know why everything he wants to do is just a simple, hey, can I borrow this?
Yeah,
or
like
like,
going a roundabout way.
Hey,
I get it, man.
I literally just want to examine it.
Like,
You think, like, I can use your lab.
you can
like-
watch me do it. Like, I just want to see what it looks like.
Can I just try a little bit? Can I have a little bit? Anything.
Silver
This guy's
Surfer.
showing up. He's like, I'm here to take some of the Terrigen Mist to examine it. I don't care whether you're okay with this or not. Give me some.
They could ask the Silver Surfer himself.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to better humanity. Can you help me out real quick?
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it's a little bit better if the boss comes to just ask the question instead of everybody else.
It's
be
so
direct, man.
misconstrued.
just be direct. You
Yeah.
don't need to go all a roundabout way. That's how problems happen.
So yeah, he just wants the Terrigen Mist so he can examine it. Oh, so for those of you who don't know, the Inhumans are from a place called Adelan, and that they're
Narnia, got it.
yeah, and that place is based on the moon during this story. In the comic books, it's been placed in other places
Covered. Yeah,
above
I
New
know.
York. I just saw that movie for the first time like last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I read the book back when I was 5th, 6th grade, and I didn't get it back then.
I was not interested when that movie came out.
Yeah, no, but it's good. It's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Not
get
all
you.
of the movies, but
No,
the first one.
The first one, yeah, it gets you.
Yeah. So while the Gatherers are working on their mission to get the Terrigen Mist, the High Evolutionary can feel that somebody is standing right behind him, and then when he turns around, he sees that the Watcher is standing there. And the Watcher is a being of a race. Each one of the Watchers has their own planet that they just watch.
Okay.
They record.
Sorry, I just remember when he shows up in this.
Yeah.
He's such a little bitch.
She's such an asshole. I
You just
don't.
watch.
Yeah. All I can do is watch, man. So each one of them has their own planet that they have to watch.
It's him behind him with a slow tub of popcorn.
He doesn't even grab it with his hand. He just puts it up to his mouth. Like, oh. You weren't supposed to turn around.
Now I'm being watched, and this is weird. I get it now.
So yeah, he's from a group of watchers. Each one of them has their own planet to watch. They have to record everything that happens in existence, but they can't interfere with anything that happens. I will tell you now that almost every time I've seen, his name is Uatu. Every time I've seen him show up, he's interfered in almost everything. Almost every time. So yeah, now the High Evolutionary turns around, and the Watcher's just staring at him.
Sup?
And the Watcher, of course, is doing exactly what he shouldn't be doing, and he tells the High Evolutionary that he's only watching. And
It's like when the police show up at PB Tom. Hey, I'm just watching.
I didn't. I know she's changing her clothes, but I was just watching. Okay, you creep. Get in the back of the car.
Somebody put this spray paint in my hand, but I'm just watching it.
Yeah, it's the same color that's on the wall, but I watched somebody do it. Then he handed me the paint. All I ever do is watch, man. So yeah, the High Evolutionary finds out that Uatu's been watching him this whole time through the whole Moloid situation, the Punisher stuff, everything. Up until this point, the Watcher's seen everything. And somewhere across the moon, we see the Inhumans are trying their best to hold off the Gatherers. Quicksilver Pietro is trying to help, but he doesn't have his powers, so he's not much of a help.
He's got that one gun.
Yeah. He's still, for some reason, leading these people, but has no other powers other than having, white hair? Like,
I know probably like more than half the people he's leading can run faster than he can. Yeah.
you probably want to step to the
These
back.
people are just like, oh my god, move faster.
Come
I
on.
can fly, Richie.
Is it white hair because you take so long to get places now?
I could lay on the ground and roll faster than this.
What if he really did lose his powers and like his just normal running speed is just like slower than average?
That would suck.
It's like speed walking pace.
He ran out of breath just super quick.
Oh boy.
All right, you guys go. I'll be there.
Yeah, we're almost halfway there.
Can you
No,
lift
we
me up?
still have to go up the hill.
Hey, you seem pretty strong. Can you just like carry me?
I'm light. I gotta be 125, man. That's it. He can hold your back for you. I can just hop on your back. So yeah, Quicksilver is leading the pack with no powers. We jump back to Four Freedoms Plaza, which is the Fantastic Four's house.
Okay.
And the two teams are still fighting, but then we see Karnak try to sneak up behind Crystal, so he can just bop her on the head and knock her out. But when he tries to sneak up behind her, Lockjaw sees what he's doing and then steps in to protect Crystal from him because that's her best friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
She knows his past.
yeah.
He was a counselor in his life.
So he runs over to protect her from Karnak, and then now Lockjaw's on Crystal's side
No matter what.
no matter what.
Lockjaw has it
Black
locked
Bolt
down.
is just tired of all this shit, so he stops all the fighting. But they still kind of continue to argue with each other back and forth on whether Crystal needs to go back home or not.
But not with their fists.
No. And Black Bolt can't even fight with his words, so it's like, because if he has this power where if he speaks anything at all, even the smallest word, the smallest sound.
Oh, he's the guy from Madness.
Yes.
The way they took him out, so brutal.
So yeah, that's him.
Okay. He's using his eyes and his eyebrows.
And so a little while into them arguing back and forth, the Inhuman Phantom Mask sends in a hologram to warn all of them that Atalanta is being attacked, which is the gatherers that are out there. After hearing this, Crystal decides, okay, I do need to go home after all. Johnny isn't a fan of this idea at all, but She-Thing tells him, like, it's her choice. If she wants to go, that's her family. Let her go.
Tumnus or Tumnus.
Yeah. But then the thing is, like, well, I mean, she's still a part of our team, so if she needs help, we're going to go help her. So we're all going to go.
Real quick, I looked up if Lockjaw was actually a dog or if he was actually a person that was turned into a dog. And it says that he was actually a dog that just got turned into a giant dog that can teleport. But they said, this says, Ben Grimm once thought Lockjaw was an inhuman that transformed into a dog due to exposure from the mist. But it turned out to be some sort of inhuman prank. They were all throwing their voices talking for Lockjaw, and Ben thought it was real. And apparently he thought it was real for years, and he was telling other people about it.
Poor Ben, dude.
That's a very Ben thing to happen.
Yeah, the dog can talk, guys.
The fact that so many of the Inhumans were in on that just to get him to believe that.
And then he turns around, and the dog's just like staring at him. Like,
And the human's just fucking idiot.
Get out of my way, Ben. I told you guys he could talk. And he turns around, none of his teammates are there. No one's ever here when he's talking.
They just put Lockjaw and him in a room together. All right, you guys hang out for a bit.
Come on, man. You got to talk in front of everybody else. You're making me look crazy.
it's like that frog.
Yeah. You got to stop doing this to me, man. I thought we were friends. So, yeah, the Fantastic Four ends up going with the Inhumans back to Adelan. They get there in seconds because of Lockjaw teleporting them. And they immediately help turn the tide against the Gatherers. And the Gatherers, like, they know they're losing. So they're like, nah, I'm not dying tonight. So they go back to the High Evolutionaries. They say, hey, we couldn't figure it out. We couldn't get what you needed. Sorry. And now the High Evolutionary is pissed off because he didn't get what he wanted. And so he teleports away with his team. And then when he teleports away, he just kind of like looks at the Watcher and like gives him a dirty ass look. Like, I know you were watching all this shit. You could have helped.
And the Watcher, with the popcorn in his hand, just gives him the finger.
So after he takes off, obviously both teams have won. The Fantastic Four looks over and they see Uatu himself just standing there still. And then
Sup?
and the Thing tries to get him to tell them what's going on. And then again, he insists that he can't intervene, even though he's done it once in this issue before.
He said, I can't tell you, and he just points.
Yeah. And as I said before, we've seen him do it multiple times with the Fantastic Four. Specifically with the Fantastic Four, he's done it. And he's just not doing it. He still doesn't crack, but then they look behind the Watcher, and then there's another Watcher watching.
The Watcher behind the Watcher's like, oh.
And then that Watcher is like, I can tell you what's going on. And then Uatu steps in front of him. He's like, nah, you can't do that.
We only watch.
We only watch. Don't say shit.
But he leans over with the popcorn. No.
It's like he was watching. He's like, hey, you got to come see this. And then his friend shows up. And he's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut.
Get back in the car. We'll go to a different planet real
Like,
quick.
and they're not small people. Like, they're towering over everybody. They're towering over buildings here. And he just, like, peeks around. Like, you see him just peeking over.
Like the
Like,
Mortal
looking.
Kombat.
Yeah. So Uatu tells them to stop. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And then during this time, while they're Fantastic Four dealing with Uatu, we see Black Bolt take Crystal to what's called the blue area of the moon, which is it's a little bit further out of Adelan, where there's less of their air to breathe, so it's a little bit harder for her to breathe right now. And then once they're there, he looks at her, and then he actually speaks, and he just tells her to stay. But even the fact that there's not much air over there in the first place, it dulls the power, of his voice coming out, but it still knocks her back like 40, 50 feet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kill her probably the same way it would have done somewhere else. But with that happening, she says, I mean, for him to take me over there and actually speak words to me means that this probably means that I should stay and work on things with my husband. I don't know how she got to that part of it, but sure. And then she goes back to her team. She tells the Fantastic Four, hey, like, I'm going to stay here. Like, they need me here. Johnny's obviously not happy about it, but he should probably be worried about his wife at home.
Yeah.
And they say their goodbyes, and then the Fantastic Four head out.
Fantastic 3.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to take that spot now. But then so that was the end of that one. We jump over to the Uncanny X-Men Annual number 12. And right off the bat, we see Storm just flying away from her. She wakes up, flies out of her room, and doesn't say a thing to anybody. She just senses that there's an attack on Earth somewhere.
So she storms off.
You take the show, it's yours. I wrote that and I didn't think it. And then so she senses the attack on Earth. She storms off. Rogue tries to follow her, and then like we talked about in Fall of the Mutants, Madeline Pryor is still there with the team. Mm-hmm. She's not gone back to her husband and child, and they're still on that hidden base that they were given, basically.
In Australia.
In Australia.
I think that's called privilege.
It is, and all of them are white. So
yeah,
except for Storm.
Except for Storm, but she took off. So
yeah, she's from South Africa. Different place.
Very different people.
Yeah.
So Madeline's there, and then the other X-Men use their equipment on the base where they've been living since the Fall of the Mutants. And then with the equipment, based on her trajectory, the team realizes that she's heading towards the Savage Land. They all gather up close, and then fellow member Gateway, who is able to teleport. There's a lot of teleporting characters here. He's able to teleport them immediately to the Savage Land. But when they get there, they see that the once flourishing Savage Land is now just a barren wasteland. Nothing's there. It's over in Antarctica. It was this big jungle, unaffected by the weather or anything else that's happening around it. But it's kind of like Lost in Time. Like there's dinosaurs.
Wow.
It's mostly just like back in time, right?
Yeah.
Just dinosaurs.
There's
no
like
buildings or anything like that.
There's like a different group of like people that live there, like zebra skinned people, and like
Interesting.
But none of that's there right now. So now since the team's there, they're kind of searching around trying to find anything. Wolverine finds a bone laying on the ground, and he gives it to Longshot, whose power is basically just kind of being at the right place at the right time. Always.
He has like luck powers, right?
Yeah. So Wolverine hands him the bone. He says, "What do you think you can tell me about this bone?" Which is a hell of a power, really, if you think about it.
I feel like his power is like he can read like the history of items. Like like if he picks it up, he can like tell you like what happened in the past with this thing.
Mm-hmm. And then Longshot tells the team that someone named Terminus was the one who decimated Savage Land. Colossus is a very interesting character.
What does he do this whole issue? He does nothing.
Colossus is immediately upset because the first person that he ever made love to was a part of the Fall People tribe that lived in the Savage Land. And now she might be dead. So that's why he's upset. Not anything else. Just the first girl he slept with might be dead.
Sounds like he may have made a Colossus mistake.
Colossal mistake.
Yeah. No, I said what I said.
Either way, I'll take both. So Wolverine has Psylocke, who has the telepathy powers. He tells Psylocke to scan the whole area for any kind of life. But as soon as she starts doing that, then an earthquake starts. And then somewhere else across the frozen wasteland that once was the Savage Land, we come across the High Evolutionary, who, while digging around the whole area, finds a sample of something called the Sarcodes sanguina. I don't know what it was.
That's a tree?
Sure.
That's when the hands come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because he was looking for the Savage Land, and so like he saw that there was plant life there, so he's like, oh, cool.
So yeah, he finds that, which proves to him that it's still possible to bring back the Savage Land. So yeah, that makes sense. Before he can even think about his next step, though, he's attacked by Terminus, who begins to just choke him out, and then the X-Men see... the X-Men, seeing this attack, try to aid the High Evolutionary.
He's probably standing right behind him. This guy doesn't look behind him, it seems.
I mean, there's literally 2 giant hands about the size of like this house that just come out of the ground, and he doesn't move at all. He just...
He's just like, I think we can bring it back.
Reverse!
So yeah, the X-Men try to aid him in this attack, but everything that the X-Men are throwing at Terminus is just like the wind hitting you in the face. It's nothing. Even Wolverine's claws make some scratches on him, but Terminus he has a self-healing factor, so nothing. Storm and Rogue finally show back up, and she realizes that Terminus is the reason that she felt the call to fly there in the first place, and she uses her wind powers to knock him into a mountain, which then covers him in rubble, causes him to stay down. But with all that fun over, the High Evolutionary explains how he showed up to save the Savage Land, which again sounds like a really nice thing. Why wouldn't cool, thank you. So then he takes one of the X-Men members, Havoc, with him to his base to kind of prove that he was just there to really save the whole place. But while he goes off with Havoc, Longshot starts wandering off, and he trips and slips on some ice and then falls through a portal. Because of course he does.
It's luck.
And then after we cut back to the High Evolutionary, back after they get to his base, Havoc realizes that High Evolutionary was in fact only interested in saving or in the evolution of all species. So saving the Savage Land is going to help him do that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. So the High Evolutionary introduces Havoc to his assistant, this woman named Zaladane. And then the High Evolutionary goes on to explain that only a mutant with great power is going to be able to help him restore the Savage Land with the machine that he built.
Doesn't sound good.
Probably not.
Sounds like a bait.
Yeah. So back where the rest of the team... So back now where the rest of the team is, the Dazzler realizes that Longshot is missing, and Wolverine goes searching for him with the rest of the team. Oh, and the rest of the team goes to check on Terminus. Because they know he's under the rubble, but they're not convinced that he's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
And Longshot's trail just stops at one point, and then Wolverine takes a few more steps trying to see if he can pick up the trail again, because he has those super smelling powers. And after he takes a few more steps forward, he goes through a portal and just disappears. And now the Dazzler is freaking out. Because now she's lost 2 teammates. And she doesn't know how the hell this happened. So Storm, Storm now noticing that her necklace is holding this thing called the Cameo Crystal, which she got from a friend that she met years ago called Mirren, I believe her name was.
Helen Mirren?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And after she heard the Dazzler scream, all of a sudden the crystal started lighting up. So then she starts heading towards the Dazzler, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Colossus and Storm both head that way, and when they find the Dazzler, Storm she takes the crystal off, lifts it up in the air, and then all of a sudden...
It's like candy. It's like word up.
And then when she lifts it up in the air, that portal that the other 2 had fallen through, actually, you never saw a portal. They just kind of fell and disappeared. But when she puts up the Cameo Crystal, it actually opens up the portal. Okay. So they can see on the other side. On the other side of it is this warhound. It's basically this big dog or a wolf. And when I say big, he's like, the portal is like human size, and just his snout is just like popping through. So he's standing there Colossus is getting ready to attack him because he doesn't know any different. But Storm stops him and says, "Hey, this is one of my old friends."
Hey, look, a dog. I'm going to hit it.
A dog that's a million times bigger than me. Let me just punch it. No, I don't think so. You dummy. So, yeah, she tells Colossus, chill, this is one of my friends from the past, from when she was rescued by Mirren, and brought to their dimension where time moves faster. So, within this portal that they're in, time moves significantly faster than it does on Earth. So, Colossus goes through the portal, and he's happy to see that the woman that he lost his virginity to is actually there.
Nice.
Yeah, her name is Nero, and she has a son named Peter. Peter is Colossus's actual first name.
Oh. So she named him after the guy she slept with.
Yes. But Longshot is actually the only other person besides Nero that knows that Colossus is actually this kid's dad.
Oh, that actually is like his actual kid?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
But Colossus doesn't know. And
yeah, this is just a kid who's named after me, but no relation.
When she tells him, she's like, "Oh yeah, that's my son Peter." Like, he's like, "Huh? Like, what?
My name is Peter."
Me, Pete.
Huh?
Not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
And Nero doesn't want Colossus to know that it's actually his son, because I don't think she
Maybe she
it.
considers her relationship a Nero miss.
This guy's good. He's on his game today. I don't have anything else to say about it. You finished it. So on the other side of the portal, Terminus has finally revived himself. Storm and the rest of the team go back through the portal on the back of the Warhound's name was Sajim. Sajime, I don't know. But they all go through the portal, and nothing they do affects Terminus at all. And then during the battle, Havoc and the High Evolutionary show up, and they're ready to implement their plan. Rogue goes up to Longshot and asks to borrow his powers, because Rogue can steal powers.
Yeah.
And she says, "Hey, can I use your powers for a minute?" She takes some of it, and then she flies towards Terminus, smashing straight through his helmet and knocking him to the ground. I need water. And after smashing through the helmet, she finds out that it's not actually Terminus inside the helmet, but it's this guy named Garrock, the ruler of the Savage Land.
Huh.
So he attempts to attack Rogue, but she uses her powers again. She saps all of his power, and then he finally snaps back to his senses. And then after all of this, we find out that he's not sure how he got into the Terminus suit. Mm-hmm. He's not sure why he did what he did, but he's in a lot of pain knowing that he ruined his land.
Yeah.
Like, he would, in his right mind, he would never have done that. So after all of that, we find out that he's decided to sacrifice his life in order for the High Evolutionary's machine to restore the Savage Land. He believes that's a small price to pay. Damn, my eyes are bad. For the damage that he did. The High Evolutionary starts the machine, and the Savage Land comes back to life. The X-Men decide to help some of the survivors rebuild some of their stuff a little bit. But before the X-Men leave, Storm tells Psylocke to alter the memory of everybody that was there just a little bit, so they don't know that it was the X-Men that helped them. They just think that it was when somebody asked them, like, how did you guys fix everything? Everybody just says, oh, it was these legends from wherever helped us out. But she told her to do that so
no one knows.
No one knows, because at this point, everybody in the world, from our last story, everybody in the world thinks that the X-Men are dead.
Okay.
They think that the X-Men sacrificed their lives to save the world, and that they're all gone. So Storm told her alter it so they don't know that it was actually us that helped him out. And that was the end of that one.
I don't know, that sacrifice seems a little too convenient. Just saying.
Yeah, a little bit. Comic book writing. It's not always the greatest. So then we jump over to the Web of Spider-Man Annual number 4. Why was there so many different Spider-Man comics going at the same time?
There's 3.
Why? You're all not you're not talking about different Spider-Man. You're talking about the same guy.
It's a tangled web, man. It's a tangled web.
This is give us more stories in one book. Why do you do this? So either way, we cut over to Peter Parker, and he's on this Florida talk show to promote his new pictorial book filled with Spider-Man pictures. So after the interview, he heads to his hotel to relax because he's done 12 cities in 10 days, and he's done 11 talk shows. He hops on the phone, he calls Mary Jane, and he tries to convince her to come down to Miami with him to relax so they can both blow off some steam. She says, nah, I can't do it. And he's like, all right, whatever. They say, I love you. They hang up. He tries to go to sleep. Seconds later, after he gets off the phone, housekeeping comes knocking at his door and asks to come in. And then when the housekeeper comes inside the room, all of a sudden his spider senses start going nuts. Mm-hmm. Like he said, it feels like his mind is burning. Like that's how bad it's going off. And he just can't figure out why. She's not doing anything. She's not even acting maliciously in any way. She's just talking to him about her son. She's like, oh, I'll be out of your way soon. I want to hurry up and get all of this stuff done so I can go home to my son. And he just keeps eyeing her, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. When she leaves, his spider sense calms down, and then he's just like, all right, whatever. I didn't get hurt by anything, so. And then outside of the room, the housekeeper is talking to, like, it looks like she's talking to nobody, but she has, like, this unknown presence around her. And she's talking to it, and she said, that's the first time that I've ever felt, because I guess she felt something when she walked into the room based off of his powers. So she said that's the first time that she had felt what people feel when I come around. Like superpowered people feel when I come around. Yeah. So she doesn't know that that's Spider-Man or anything, but she knows that he has something, like, power-wise. But she said it made her feel happy because that's a new feeling that she hadn't felt before. Meanwhile, we cut over to the Florida Everglades, and the High Evolutionary sent a group of eliminators with something called a spatial dissonance generator, and it rips a hole in reality.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting straight to it. And it ends up revealing the nexus of all realities. This happening brings the creature, the Man-Thing, out of the swamp. You know anything about the Man-Thing?
I know that he is basically like the manifestation of, like, nature, of, like, the swamp.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of just, like, he doesn't feel anything like humans feel.
He doesn't have any consciousness.
Yeah, it's just the pain and anger and
of nature.
Yeah, of nature.
Okay. So, but yeah, he's come out of the water because now his land has been threatened. And then we jump over to New York City, and the Kingpin is calling Florida-based drug dealer, this guy named Slug, and he suggests that they partner up now that their drug supply is kind of dwindled down after the High Evolutionaries kind of.
Oh yeah.
With the Punisher stuff.
Yeah.
War on drugs.
Yeah. All like he's messed up their drug supply, so he's like, why don't we just partner together? We can kind of work off whatever drug supply you have, and then we'll be fine. Later in the day, the housekeeper, we find out that her name is Cecilia. She's heading home, and then when she gets on the bus, the voice in her mind is telling her, like, we're going out on the hunt tonight, so you need to find a babysitter for your kid. You're not going to be able to spend any time with them tonight. And then we jump back to the Everglades, and then there's this loud noise emitting from the rip in reality. And it's causing the Eliminators that are there to just scream in pain. All of a sudden, blood starts dripping from the rip in reality. And then when it drips on some of the Eliminators, it just burns them to ashes.
Dang.
Yeah. And the High Evolutionary is, of course, sitting at a distance watching all this. And he tells his Eliminators over like a comm or whatever. He's like, just be brave. It's for the all of this is for the cause. And he tells them that when a rip in space happens like this, things can kind of seep through, and then it causes effects to the living beings that are here, and that maybe might not ever happen if it didn't. Which, of course, but okay,
That's how events do.
yeah, it happens in less.
Because it wasn't happening before.
Yeah. So we jump back over to Miami where Peter is, and he can't sleep, and he's hungry, so he goes out for some burgers, for a burger and fries. When he hears some of that guy Slug, when he hears some of his men beating up a rival drug dealer, this guy named Santo, Peter quickly changes into a Spider-Man fit. He pulls Santo out of the car to safety, and then he throws him on the ground and starts asking him questions. And he's like, "What? I just want to know what the hell is happening here."
Santo's looking up like, you have ketchup right here.
Shut up. Tell me what's going on. So he throws him on the ground, says, "What the hell is happening?" We jump back over to Cecilia's place. She's getting dressed. She's putting on her costume, and she has a scarlet-colored skull necklace that she wears with the costume. And then when she puts the necklace on, she ends up transforming into this being called Poison, which I can only assume is the voice that she's hearing. Yeah. Then. Oh, brother. Yes, that's the voice that she was hearing in her.
It's the Bell Biv DeVoe song.
Yeah. That too. And then we jump back across town. Spidey gets all the information he needs from Santo, and he leaves. But when he leaves, the High Evolutionary's purifiers show up, and they tell Santo that he's causing the pollution of the genetic structure in the world, and they kill him right off the bat. At that point, Slug and Kingpin both know that Spider-Man is in Florida and just fucking things up for them. So we jump back across town, and now the purifiers show up at Cecilia's apartment complex. And they're looking for her so they can kill her because they think that I don't know how they're sensing powers really, but they know that she has powers, and they feel like her having the power that she does is causing some kind of genetic deformities. They don't want it. They're trying to get rid of her.
That's weird.
So
Show me the work, man. Like, you come to these conclusions, show me the work. Like,
that's what it's like. All scientists where they're like, oh, like 85% of the ocean is undiscovered life forms. How do you know?
yeah.
You didn't discover that shit. There could be only 3 other ones down there that you haven't seen. Where is everybody else? I just love science because they just get to say numbers and then know that there's no way we can fact check it. There's 50 billion stars in the sky. You counted all of them? How do I know that? You just know you can't prove it.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to start doing. Just start saying stuff that I know nobody else can prove.
Yeah.
And just roll with it. Why not? I've read every Spider-Man comic there is. Oh, yeah, what happened here? I didn't say I remembered everything. I just read it. What else? Like, you can't tell me I didn't. So yeah, the purifier showed up at her complex to kill her. But when she's poisoned, she's too strong for any of them to handle her. She kills all of them, and then the voice in her head, or the voice in her head tells her that she needs to go to where their worlds intersect. And then after that we find out that place is the Everglades where that time rip is.
Okay.
So then we cut back to Spidey, and now he's on his way to the Everglades as well with the information that Santo gave him, and he's trying to find the leftover drugs that is still there after the Central American War with the Punisher happened. He finds a literal fridge out in the Everglades, and it's just filled with cocaine. And then all of a sudden, Slug's men show up, and they start shooting at him. But before they really get a lot of shots off, they get shot down by the High Evolutionary's Eliminators. And then we see Spidey make his way to safety, and his spider sense starts going on full blast like it did in the hotel room again. And when he looks up, he sees that his housekeeper, Cecilia, is just floating down into the Everglades. And he was like, "Oh, I don't think that's supposed to happen to housekeepers." So he takes care of the Eliminators on his own, and then while he's doing that, the voice inside Cecilia's head releases itself from her body in the form of smoke, and tells her, "We're no longer going to be connected." And the voice is like, "Are you going to miss having me around?" And she's like, "No, not really." I'm kind of relieved that this isn't.
I couldn't actually find a babysitter, so
yeah. So my son is literally sitting at home watching TV right now.
Just a box of Cheerios and hopefully not spoiled milk.
So she tells her goodbye, and then but she does let Cecilia know that just because I'm leaving, this doesn't mean the Eliminators aren't going to keep trying to come back to kill you.
Her final gift.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
And then the being just floats up to the rip in time space, disappears. The next morning, Peter gets a knock on his hotel room, and the person on the other end says it's housekeeping, so he starts losing his shit. He's like, no, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, you see like a leg just kind of like pop through, like a bare leg, like she's trying to flirt with him. And he's like, no, I'm married. Like I'm good. I don't need housekeeping. And then it's just MJ. She came down to visit him, and then that was the end of that one.
Okay.
So
Poison will be missed.
Yeah. I had to skip one of them. The story I couldn't do.
Which one?
The West Coast Avengers one.
If I remember, you didn't read any of it?
No. I read the first 2 pages, and I just didn't want to after that.
So with that one, Ben Foster, the Goliath, he has like Ant-Man powers, but he can only grow big.
What man wouldn't? Anyways.
He is actually working for the High Evolutionary, but he's kind of doing like undercover. So he
undercover growth, yeah.
He overhears a plan that they're going to go to Wakanda and steal a bunch of vibranium for this device that the High Evolutionary is building. So he sneaks a note in one of the purifiers, like armor, and he's like, "Hey man, good luck out there," and he drops it in like right behind his neck. And so they get to Wakanda, and Black Panther starts kicking ass and everything, and I think the West Coast Avengers show up to help him out. And eventually they find the note, and they give it to T'Challa, and they're like, "Dear T'Challa, High Evolutionary is going to steal your vibranium. Watch out." And then he's like, "What the hell is this about?" And so they take care of all the purifiers, and they think they finished it. And then little do they know, like, somebody actually went in there and started stealing all the vibranium. I don't know how much vibranium one person can steal without being noticed, but they get away with it. And then I think, then Moon Knight, Mockingbird, and Tigra, they end up at the High Evolutionary's like base in the Savage Land or some shit or something like that. Yeah, it was boring. These last like few issues, I just wanted to end.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to float through them as fast as I can because we're at an hour 45 already.
I'm sorry, listeners.
So we go to Spectacular Spider-Man Annual number 8. Spider-Man back in New York now. He's sitting on the rooftop When his spider sense starts to go crazy again, just like always, when he looks up, he barely avoids an energy blast sent his way, and then when he looks up to see who sent it, he sees two of the High Evolutionary's purifiers chasing a girl down the street. He chases the girl too, so he can help save her. And then when he gets to her, he's in complete shock because the woman they're chasing is his ex-girlfriend, Gwen Stacy. But that can't be right because Gwen Stacy died.
Mm-hmm.
And that we did that episode, episode number 14 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She's dead. She's been dead.
I kind of hate how much they go off of the whole, oh, new clone of Gwen Stacy's back. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
How's he feel? Like, he's been through this 5 times. How do you think he feels? He's tired of this shit.
Can you guys
Stop messing with this man.
clone a therapist, please? So we can deal
MJ's
with his
tired of
stuff.
this shit. Like, everybody in his life has got to be tired of this.
Like, at this point, they're just like, another clone of Gwen? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man, go deal with it.
Yeah,
We'll be
okay.
here.
So, so he's freaking out right now. She's also afraid when she sees Spider-Man, so she runs the opposite way from him. But he's occupied with the purifiers, and they eventually give up and teleport away because they give up pretty quickly most of the time. The High Evolutionary did not hire the right people.
I don't think they're committed.
I don't think so.
Maybe the benefits are off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they teleport away, and then Gwen just keeps running. Back on the High Evolutionary ship, the purifiers let him know they failed to get Gwen. The purifiers ask, why is this girl so important? Why do we need her? And he tells them that her body holds a lot of secrets that would help the human race take the next step in evolution. And then he just teleports away from everybody.
That part, I was like, what kind of henchman just questions their boss and gets away with it?
Right?
I don't know.
If
Like-
you told us what this girl was so important for, maybe we do the job
Maybe
right.
we try harder.
Like,
you
first
should
of all,
just
why,
did the job.
why does it matter? What should I need her for?
It's not enough for us to just get orders. Look, Steve and I were talking. It's not enough for us. No, it's fine. I told him look, nothing's gonna happen.
You
He
guys
needs
wanted me
He
to talk
needs
to him.
us.
I'm going to talk to him. All
Yeah,
right.
it's,
Hey,
stop
chill,
pushing. Stop
chill,
pushing.
chill.
We all talked about this as a group. We need to know what we're going out there for.
Remember the muffins? We all got the muffins.
Everybody just backs up.
Just one giant.
The High Evolutionary is looking at all of them like,
What?
and everybody else is like,
Look, sir, it's not enough for us to follow orders. We need to know why.
He's like,
we have questions.
Well, I'm glad someone spoke up. Let's have a meeting.
if you have to, no.
See you guys.
You guys all need to take the initiative like this guy right here.
Yeah.
This
job.
is evolution.
This is growth, people.
Don't
Let's
stand
all
down.
get there. Take your own career into your own hands, all right?
So yeah, he tells him she's the next step in evolution, and then just teleports away from everybody. And then back at Peter's place, he's kind of running crazy with emotion after what he just saw, and then all of a sudden Mary Jane walks into the house. She notices something's wrong, and he says, "I just saw Gwen Stacy," and she freaks out, thinking that Peter's gonna leave her. Like, you just saw the girl, like. So then we jump over to the High Evolutionary, and he's made his way to the celestial ship, holding the team known as the Young Gods, and he walks in on their training, which continues until they notice that he's standing there just watching them.
Sup?
A lot of these people just keep doing this. So he ends up being slightly disappointed when he sees that they're all just kind of children with higher powers. And then he just takes off again. He teleports away. And before he leaves, the young god Daydreamer probes his mind and finds out what his purpose was for coming there in the first place. She sees that he's actually planning a genetic homicide on Earth. Which kind of like sums all of this stuff up into
So
one.
what has it been? 12? No, 10 right now? 8 or 10? That we got to this point where someone's like, "Oh, this is exactly what he wants."
this would be issue number 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like this is okay. So we could have summarized so many things.
So, yeah,
So
could
many
have.
things.
I did this in 5. But the young gods, the young gods then decide that they need to come to Earth to help save us. Back in New York, Peter is spending his time reassuring MJ that he isn't going to leave her, and now that Gwen Stacy is back, and that she's probably just a clone anyways. So that's not really her. And seconds later, a knock comes on the door, and then who's on the other side of the door? Gwen Stacy. And she runs into his arms, but when she does that, his robe opens up, and she sees that he still has a spider suit on, and she runs off.
Could have been much worse.
Yeah. And then he goes to chase her down, and then when he catches her, she yells at him for killing her father, which didn't actually happen. He was trying, like, he's a cop. He tried to save some kid from getting hit by rubble that was falling off a building, and ended up smashing him and killing him. Not Spider-Man.
Classic
yeah, a lot of these
deflection,
heroes, they get blamed for things that, like, you may have been in the fight, but, like, your person was kind of, like, they put themselves there, too.
Yeah.
We're all people, man. We all make big boy choices, big girl choices, whatever.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, while she's screaming, Spider-Man gets blasted in the back by a purifier, who then grabs Gwen and then teleports away. Spidey, not wanting to lose Gwen a second time, quickly gets them before they teleport away, and he goes along for the ride. Now they are in the High Evolutionary submarine layer, and the High Evolutionary wants to take Gwen for testing, and then when they take her off to test, the young gods teleport in, and they start attacking the purifiers. Spidey takes off trying to find Gwen in the testing room, but he gets caught by another purifier. But the young gods come in and get to save for Spider-Man there as well.
With all of, like, he has, like, a submarine lair, he has a space station.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, man.
He has all these different places. Like, how do you think they manage all that? Do you think they have, like, an admin? Like, hey, I need to get logged into, like, the the genetics file. Can you get me access to that?
I would assume so.
Do they have HR, too? And
Probably not. That's probably the one thing they don't have.
Yeah.
So, the young gods came in for the save for Spidey, but then half of the team didn't want to come down and help in the first place. So now the young gods are fighting amongst each other, which is no good. And while they're doing all that, the High Evolutionary gets his reading from Gwen, and he's not happy about it. Spider-Man ends up saving the Gwen clone and tells her to stay put, just stay here. And then Spider-Man tries to get some answers from the High Evolutionary on why he wants this clone of Gwen so badly. And then he says, I just wanted to confirm that she was in fact a clone. She's not. It's not a clone. This is the real Gwen Stacy. And Peter's just like, what the fuck? Like, no, the real one's dead.
whoa, mind blown.
And then the High Evolutionary teleports Spidey and the actual Gwen Stacy back to New York. Back in New York now, after hearing that news, Gwen is understandably upset and distressed. But just after they arrive, Daydreamer from the Young Gods shows up and could sense the distress and uses her powers to remove the memories from her mind so she doesn't know anything that Gwen knew before all this stuff happened or before she died. And then Gwen just kind of walks away.
Wait, did you read it?
Yeah.
Because I read something different.
What?
I read that she wasn't a clone, that he genetically modified some other girl to look like Gwen. And
shit, yeah, no, that part was, yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end, that's when she, like, changed her memories to be like, all right, you're not Gwen Stacy, you're back to whoever
Cut
you
that
are.
part out. Thanks for finishing that part of the story for me.
Now in your story, there's some Gwen walking around just like, I'm not Gwen anymore.
Gwen, hey, what's up? Don't know that. Okay, and then now we're on the last one, Avengers Annual number 7. So this one, I hate how, well, never mind, we'll get to it after. After being reconstructed by an unknown team, the robot Jocasta frees herself and sends out an SOS to the Avengers before being captured again. Since the normal members of the Avengers aren't around, the reserve team is called up for help. Right now, it's Steve Rogers, the captain, not Captain America. He's just the captain. I think it's like a black suit.
It's like the U.S. agent.
Yeah. So it's Steve Rogers, the captain, the Falcon, Hercules, the Beast, Hulk, and the female Yellow Jacket.
Okay. So What did you say they were? Which team?
It's the Avengers, but it's kind of like
The reserves. So they tear away their breakaway pants and get in the game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the Avengers are already in the lead. Just send in the backups, let them go out. So
So many Madden games, man. So many Madden games.
So after tracing Jacasta's call to damn, I'm hungry. I hope the mic didn't pick that up. After tracing Jacasta's call to a Long Island lab, the Avengers make their way there, only to get inside and see all of the High Evolutionary's followers, and a genetic bomb that, when set off, is going to catapult the human race through millions of years of evolution in seconds. They also find that the volcano Krakatoa will be used to light the fuse on the bomb and then send it high into the air, causing the bomb to disperse at a higher rate. So they immediately get called to business and then start telling all the followers, hey, like, they're ups or like animal people, right? I don't know, like, just trying to convince them that, like, maybe this isn't legit. So the Avengers then decide to go straight to the High Evolutionary to try to stop him. And he handily disables Jocasta in like half a second. He teleports the Hulk to New Mexico. And now he just has like 3 other people to deal with. The rest of the team, except for Beast, starts to bring the fight to the High Evolutionary. And while they do that, the Beast uses the High Evolutionary's genetic accelerator on Hercules, which basically starts transforming him into the High Evolutionary's equal at this point. Then the 2 of them start to clash it out, with Hercules eventually getting the upper hand and besting the High Evolutionary, causing the High Evolutionary to vanish. But with the battle won, there's still a problem because Hercules just won't stop evolving at this point. And he eventually vanishes as well. The rest of the team just kind of hops in the Quinjet after that. And they head home. But before they do, Jocasta sets off the High Evolutionary's base, the antimatter drive, to cause it to self-destruct and destroy the bomb at the same time. And then that was it.
Classic 2 birds, 1 stone right there at the end.
Yeah, I like how in the end, like, Hercules is pretty much just, like, gone.
Yeah.
They get in the Quinjet, and then Beast starts making jokes, like, right after.
Dang.
I'm like, you guys are the worst. And Cap is just like, well, Avengers, we get to go home.
We survived another one.
High fives. Hurt, get in here. Oh,
okay.
Your friend just vanished.
You don't even know where he's at. And Hercules is just looking down on him from the sky. And just like, you guys left that quick?
Beast was super annoying in that issue.
He's always super annoying.
It's like, I just remember him being more like, I don't know, like scientific nerdy.
yeah.
And when he starts like telling like stupid jokes, it's like, shut up.
Hey, look, stick to the science.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so
With your folks facts.
like I said, this has gotten way too long. So real quick, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a house explosion. It wasn't terrible. It was very long.
Too long. I'm gonna give it a forget about it. I didn't like it.
So forget about it, cuz.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, we have either don't read it or read it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying if you have the time and you want to read it, definitely read it over a time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
Take your time with it if you're gonna read it.
yeah.
Don't sit there and take notes on it like we do. On these long stories,
Do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah. On these long stories where it's kind of separated and like there's an overarching theme to everything, but it's not super connected. When you have to sit there and like take notes on everything, it's like, oh boy, it makes the story worse.
Yeah, the dissecting, just like we were talking about last
Yeah.
week, man. Just nitpicking at everything to try and find stuff.
Because then I do start picking things apart. Like, you gave me 4 pages of this. Why? Or like when Beast started getting annoying, it's like, oh fuck, come on, man.
Yeah, like at the tail end too. After reading them so long, you're just like, I don't have time for your jokes. Let's just get the story over with.
And like I think I said it last week too. It really is. Like sometimes I look at a page and it's like, okay, this is mostly action, like a few words.
Yeah.
Next page.
I love that because I'm just like, yeah, next page, next page, next
Cool,
page.
cool. I don't need the details here.
Yeah.
All right, what are you giving it?
I'd say it was moderate. I mean, just hearing back everything, like it was moderate. Like I would say, I'd probably read that series like maybe on a long flight, like on like somewhere where I like again, like Mark said, you know, have the time to do it, to read it and go through, and then maybe enjoy it that way. But yeah, I wasn't like too enthused. There's some interesting stuff for sure.
So would you say that it was so good you would blow up a house, or would you say it was bad enough to say forget about it?
Is there a medium there? Like
one or
forget
the
about
other.
blowing up the house?
If you say medium, then we're gonna everybody's gonna get the Judge Judy song.
It's a medium.
Hey.
You can only judge me if you're the judge. Specifically, Judy. You gotta be Judy. You can take me in and put me in cuffs. If your name is Judy, you gotta be
by next week there'll
Judge
be a dance to this.
Judy. It's the judge. It's the judge.
No, he didn't try and hit the high note though.
That boy went off. What's that guy say? That Tony guy on TikTok? That boy is acting up.
I'm about to act
This store got me about to act up. Why do they want me to act up? I love that guy. But all right, guys, this has been long enough. Even if I edit it down, it's gonna be too long. DeMarco recommended it if you got time to just sit down and read it. I'm not on that same page. Gustavo is in the middle.
Yeah.
He's gonna leave it up to Judge Judy to decide. And yeah, that was it, guys. Thanks for kicking it. Thanks for sitting around as long as you did. If you made it this far, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.